Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Daniel Campbell as always. Thank you for coming. I figured today we're going to try something a little bit different. I don't usually have a whole lot of free time to make videos anymore, but we're going to try a little bit of different format. If you like it, please let me know. If you hate it, please let me know. I'm here mostly to educate. So what we're going to try and do today is we're going to try and watch a bunch of other glitch videos, as they like to be called online. It's a dark place to go. But anyway, yeah, so we're going to go ahead and watch some of those, and I will try and say what I think is happening in the bug, and we'll write it up and see how it would be written up. So, fair warning, there's a lot about game development that I still don't know, animation stuff, AI stuff, programming stuff, so I'm going to be taking a crack at what I think the problem is, but no promises as to actually how accurate I'll be. But I'll give it a shot, and then I'll write it up how I would write it up if I were to find it in the game. So let's go ahead and get started. This first one is from a place called Cons Games, this video. I don't know, I'm pretty sure you probably didn't gather all the bugs themselves. It's probably just a compilation of them.
Most of my subs come from Code 4. So.
Yeah, we got Call of Duty running around.
I haven't been playing that. What the hell?
Oh. Alright. What I think is happening here is probably a network disconnect. A lot of times in video games, whenever there's multiplayer, predictive movement and stuff like that going on, a lot of predictive things going on. So instead of just waiting for the player to move and then updating it on the server side, if the player is continually moving in one direction, you can kind of feel pretty confident that they're going to be here the next time you update the server information, or next time you try to communicate between the client and server. So basically the server will assume that they kept moving in that direction and then update accordingly, and if they didn't, then it will update them. And that's why you get that rubber banding sometimes. What a lot of people like to call it is like where a character is moving and then snapping back, moving and snapping back. It's because the predictive part of it is saying, all right, they should be about here by now, but they're not. They're still sitting still, so it snaps them back. I think what's happening here is that it's predictive, like they were moving in a direction and then they got disconnected or having communication issues, and it's just continually like, all right, well, they must be going there, they must be going there, and it's never really updating them back to their actual position. So yeah, I would have to assume that is what is happening. So let's write it up. Alright, so usually you would have the video being an online experience. You would have like your name. I'm sure there'd be some kind of network log. There would be some kind of information that you would want to gather with this. Multiplayer testing is a different beast. Requires usually a lot of logs and everything like that to be submitted with the bug. Yeah. Okay, so we have to make a lot of assumptions on writing this bug, because we don't have all the information on a lot of these. So basically I would write it up as when playing a multiplayer match on X map at the X timestamp, the player X was observed moving through the air while playing the walking animation. I would like to say this is definitely due to a network issue, but like not knowing all the details, it's impossible to say. And as QA, we report it kind of as is. We try to make assumptions and gather all the information we can. But there does come a time where it's just like, hey, we don't have all the information, but we're going to go ahead and post this. A lot of times that's more happens with crashes. If there's a crash that you're having trouble narrowing down, you spend a little bit of time trying to reproduce it, but if you can't, you just post it, because it's very possible that the programmer or engineer, whoever ends up getting it, will look at it and know exactly what's happening, and you don't need to spend 2.5 days trying to figure out how to reproduce this crash bug. Okay. Alright. What I'm pretty sure is happening with this one is, yeah, it's just the character has probably been killed, and it was in a position where when they ragdolled, some of their models probably stuck inside of some geometry, and it's just trying to simulate to get out of it. That seems pretty simple, but we're gonna go ahead and make a few assumptions again on this one. I'm gonna make assumptions and we're gonna write it up as assumed. So basically, let's go ahead and resize. So I'm gonna make assumptions that this is gonna happen let's just say I reproduced it a bunch of times, and it always happens whenever an enemy is killed while they're on this particular, or you know, an NPC is killed while they're on this particular model of weapon emplacement. So I would get the model of weapon emplacement. I'd probably try to get a little bit of animation info too, but really the most important thing would probably be to get the steps down and get the model of the actual weapon as well. Alright, so let's just go ahead and write it up. Okay, so I went ahead and wrote up what I thought it might look like, given just my assessment of what it might be. Whenever an NPC is killed while manning the blank gun emplacement, their ragdoll will be stuck inside the emplacement geometry, and causing it to continually simulate to separate the two models. Okay. You'd want to include, this is just me making up a model name. I don't actually know the name of the model, but you would say model, blah, blah, blah. You would include the video. Pretty much it. So. Oh. I'm going to guess something is very wrong with this, with the animation state on this character. I would have to see it from the beginning to honestly know what caused it. So I'm going to pass over that one for now. I don't like... Oh! No, that's not helpful for them. Oh boy. Alright, so another multiplayer thing. You want to include the map. Although this could probably be done in a non-multiplayer setting too, because this doesn't look like it had anything to do with multiplayer. Yeah, this could have probably happened in a non-network setting, so. Okay, for this one, I just wrote it up as, you want to have a location, obviously, because it does seem like it might have something to do with, like, the level geometry there. Maybe it's kind of like there's something sticking up or sticking out that shouldn't be, so you would definitely want to include a location of where it happened, where that initial launch happened. So yeah, let's like a location. Blah, blah, blah. I do not say blah, blah, blah. Anyway. When driving X tank at the location listed above, the tank briefly became stuck in nearby geometry, which launched the tank into the air. Please see attached video. So, pretty simple. Going off what I have, I don't know 100% know if you, again, if you're in a QA department already, ask your supervisor how they do things. It could be different at every studio. I'm just showing you how I perceive it and test it. So let's move on. Oh, Assassin's Creed, you're never buggy. Oh. Okay. That looks uncomfortable, sir. No, let's go back a little bit. Okay. Moving back. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at what we got here. So, looking at it, it seems what's happening is the character plays this animation of, if it's using the system that I think it is, there's things called IK tags. So basically there's these little tags along models and geometry that tell characters where to put their hands and stuff whenever they're grabbing onto things. Climbing fences, whenever they're opening a door, an IK tag will be on like the door handle so the character knows where to play the animation and where their hand should go. That's the system that I understood. It might be, again, I'm just going from a QA stance and how it was explained to me. What's happening here, I'm guessing, is there's an IK system in place that causes the character to put their hands where they're climbing on these little sections. And whenever you jump to the side, the character wasn't able to find its way to the next node. So the hands and feet were automatically grabbing towards the last known IK node, which is way over. That's why the hands and legs are all to the side like that. And as far as the actual underlying bug isn't that, believe it or not. The IK system is probably working as designed, so it's not a problem with the IK system. It's more a problem with the fact that whenever the character jumped to the side, they weren't able to make it to that next area. So either one, it wasn't able to sort of make it, the nodes are too far apart for them to be able to jump to it, or there's something in the code that's making it to where there's like edge cases to where like, all right, we'll let you jump, but oh no, we can't find the next spot. So I don't 100% know about all that. We'll leave that to the developers to decide. I feel like that's where QA is line ends, we put as much information as we can in, and that's that. So, okay, well, we want to get a model of the building. We would want to try and get animation information if we can, but that's really mainly what we want to get. Is probably location, although that's probably not super important. They probably won't want to know the model of the building. Let's do results and expected results, because I don't think they're always needed, just because I don't think they're always needed. But on the same note, there are a lot of developers that require them, a lot of QA departments that even if it doesn't make sense, you have to put results and expected results. Don't ask me why, but it is required in a lot of QA departments. So really the only time results and expected results I think are really useful is whenever the bug isn't clear. Like, it's just like, why is this a bug? I don't understand why you think this is a bug, kind of thing. That's usually when I think results and expected results are the best. Okay, so I've made what I consider kind of a QA mistake here on this one, just because I kind of wanted to go over it. So let's go over the results and expected results. Results: the player character is left in mid-air animation. Expected results: the character is able to jump to the next section of the building, or the character is unable to jump without first resolving the success of their landing function. Now I consider the mistake is I am kind of, and this is another one of the reasons I don't like expected results, is I'm presuming how they should fix the bug. That's not up to me as QA. As QA, my job is just to report the bug. So I would just go ahead and cut this last part off, or the character saying able to jump to the first without first resolving the success of their landing function. I don't know what their code is like. I don't presume to know how their animation scripting works or anything like that. I could be completely off base as to what the problem is, because I don't have that kind of insider knowledge. So we'll go ahead and stick to this, and yeah, we'll just consider that one written the way it is. So. Oh, Halo again. Well, I think it's Halo. Looks like Halo. Oof. I wonder if that screen is that screen from the game? Is that really from the game? That was weird. You'd want to get the name of the location, or get the location. Make sure, try to get the name of the bridge and the Warthog. I think that's what that's called, the Warthog model. I always try to provide everything that is as useful as I can. But if ever there comes a time where I need to type out expected results and I don't know what to put, I usually put just the inverse of the results. Like, the vehicle does not get flung through the air. Cool. Alright, so let's go over this one last time. When driving the Warthog, the retractable bridge closed on the vehicle causes it to be flung into the air and explode. Please see attached video. The vehicle becomes briefly stuck in the bridge geometry and then is flung out of the geometry and explodes. The vehicle does not get flung through the air and explode. Alright, that looks good. Cool, we'll move on to the next one. Just another instance of a Ragdoll getting stuck in some geometry. That's what Ragdolls do, man. It's an epidemic. Okay, if I had to guess what was going on here, is I would say that he's in a state of falling off the bike, but the game never actually flags him as being off the bike. So he's trying to do that IK system that I was talking about before, where it's constantly trying to move the character back to there, and his hands are IK'd to those handlebars. So it's going to stretch his arms, so they're to the Alright, so this is definitely going to be me making some more assumptions on the part of the tester or the player. I'm just going to pretend that I found this, and I'm going to have to pretend that I saw a few things just to be able to write it up accurately. Alright, so what I've got is when falling off of the X bike, the player character would continually fall off, then spawn back at the bike's location. The bike is completely drivable in this state. Please see attached video. Now this is one where I think results and expected results might actually help a little bit, so maybe? I don't know. The steps also is very, very important and stuff like this. The only reason I'm not including steps in this particular format is because I don't know their steps. Like, a lot of times these videos pick up as the bug is already happening, or, you know, just like very shortly as as it's starting. So it's always tough to nail down steps, but the next time I do a video where I'm actually doing the bug hunting, I'll make sure to try and start including steps, because I know a lot of QA departments require that as well. So, but anyway, yeah, so the results and inspector results, the player continually spawns at and then falls off of the bike. Expected results, the player character either completely falls off the bike, exiting the vehicle, or stays on the bike. So one thing that people might not realize about games, specifically games with vehicles and stuff like that, is bike is a vehicle. Like, it's basically probably it probably has a parent class of vehicle that cars share, everything like that. So like, as far as the game cares, it doesn't see a huge difference as far as like a car and a bike, or a truck and a bike. It just sees that as probably as a vehicle. There's probably IK tags on steering wheels of the other vehicles too. So as far as the game's concerned, a bike, not that different from a car. That would be my guess. That's, again, just a guess. So. Alright, this next one is from a place called Doom 49 Commentaries. Feel free to check them out. Oh, that's what we call a T-pose. For obvious reasons, they put their body out like a T. It's usually sort of like the default. If I don't have a player character will be like, hey, I don't have an animation to play. I'm just going to go to my default pose. Bam, T-pose. So if you ever see that in a game, like a character with their arms out wide, or sometimes down to their sides or stuff like that, not moving otherwise, that's called a T-pose. This animation testing is tough, just because there's 1,000 different animations playing at the same time. They're being blended like left and right. It's tough, but it's doable. Usually you'll get some kind of console command, and animation testing without console command would be really hard, but animation testing, usually you'll get a console command that sort of spits out all the animations that are being played on a particular actor. What you would do is you would probably get the animations being played on the T-posing actor and the other actor, because it could be a problem with just the interaction between the two, that it doesn't know how to match up those two animations, and that's why it's happening. So when Johnny Booty Stomp is in X animation and Michael Hansen is in X animation, Booty Stomp will go into a T-pose. Please see attached video. That is my new favorite character, Johnny Booty Stomp. Anyway, result, Booty Stomp goes into a T-pose. Let me see, expected result, neither character goes into a T-pose. Simple enough. All right, cool. Moving on. Oh, some Metal Gear Solid Online. Or it could be on Metal Gear Solid. Oh, boy. That's not good. Oh, man, what did he do here? He's like warped to like a section in another part of the world. How did he do that? That I don't know. I have no idea how this happened. That's one of those elusive bugs that you kind of post as is because you don't know how to recreate it. You try, obviously. But you don't know how to recreate it, and when you get it back in regression, you're like, okay, I'll have to assume it's fixed because I have no freaking clue how it happened. Okay, so when going into an edge hang at the above location, I'd probably want to include the model on that too, the model of the bridge, in case it's a problem with the model, not so much a problem with the location. It could be a problem with both, it could be a problem with neither, it could be a problem with just how the two were put together. That would be my guess, is this particular model of bridge in this location, when the player character tries to occupy this particular space, that it results in this madness. Good lord. Okay, looks like we got Battlefield. Helicopter down. Oh, another fun Ragdoll. There's a lot of them. I won't bug this one because, man, that's another problem with Ragdoll physics, dude. They cause problems. I mean, you can't really have much of a video game with humanoid creatures being killed and not have ragdolls. I mean, you can, but ragdolls just add so much more like realism and just like life to the world, which is odd because you use ragdolls to sort of signify death, but you know what I mean, right? Right. Oh, we got Witcher 3. Imagine that. Oh, it looks like... Here, let's go ahead and run it back. Alright. Witcher 3. Oh, hey. Hey there, guy. Alright. It looks like that guy, like, spawned there. So, I would say the bug is the fact that there's, like, a node there for characters to use, or a node there for characters to spawn on, when there shouldn't be, because that's a place where a cutscene is being taking place. So, you'll want to get the name of the character that he's talking to. You'll want to get the, hopefully the name, the cutscene, obviously location. So location, character, and conversation. Oop. Okay, so for this one, I went ahead and would gather the location, character, conversation, cutscene. Alright, so the description, when in a conversation with X character at the location above, NPCs will spawn within the area of the conversation, leading to the NPC clipping into Geralt, or blocking the camera, Results, the NPCs spawn within the area of the conversation while it's happening. Expected results, NPCs do not spawn in or move into areas where player conversations are actively happening. I think that's pretty much all there is to it. That's a pretty straightforward bug. There's probably like a little node for NPCs to either use or spawn in that Geralt is currently standing on. So there either needs to be, that node either needs to not be there, or they need to have some kind of flag where a conversation is actively happening within this area. If this node is being selected to either spawn or be used by an NPC, don't do that. You know, like there's an active conversation currently happening within this volume. Do not use this node. Disable this node for the time being. So. More Ragdoll madness. I'll tell you what, I'm going to not post any more or write up any more Ragdoll bugs, but you can see from this very first video in this format, Ragdolls are, my God, a nightmare. Like, and I can't imagine how badly programmers and stuff must feel about it. Like, I'm sure they hate it more than anybody. Like, having to try and figure out why this character's ragdoll went forward like 3 pixels to get stuck in this geometry. My God, that sounds like a nightmare. I don't know anything about ragdoll physics or, you know, how to fix it, but good Lord, good luck. Okay, what I think is happening here. Okay, if I had to guess, because I didn't see this from the beginning, as far as like how it started and stuff. Hang on, let's go back. Take a look at how it started. Alright, so we didn't see it from the, like, whenever actually started. So, if I had to guess, I would say that is a vehicle or like some kind of special object that is currently playing the wrong animation. I don't know a lot about this game. I'm gonna guess this is, I don't know what game this is. I would guess that sometimes you get models that play the wrong animation. So like you'll sometimes see like a horse stand up and be like stretched limbs and walking on its hind legs and stuff like that. That usually indicates that it's a human NPC that is got the static mesh of a horse. Not static mesh, but a character mesh of a horse. And it's trying to play the animations on this model that is clearly not a human. I'm gonna guess that's what's happening here, is that it is one model trying to play the animations and behavior of another model. Alright, so when playing a multiplayer match on, you know, all of this information would be like earlier, especially if you're using something like Jira or something like that, or Spiceworks. There would be fields for, was it multiplayer, single player? Was it, what map was it on? What mode was it in? That kinds of thing. So really to include all of that in the description would be redundant, but sometimes it's kind of needed just to sort of make the sentence flow properly. Like you might not always need the information, but sometimes if you need the words to flow properly from your bug, you can be redundant if you need to. Okay, so I went and took a stab at this since I don't have very much information to go off of, but when playing a multiplayer match on X map, a player called in the, I don't know what it's called, vehicle, and said, and hang on, and then, see, if I don't say and then, it just sounds like the other character, the player said this. When I say and then said vehicle. That would have been kind of a weird, confusing thing to read. And then said vehicle was playing the animations of a human actor character blueprint. Results. Vehicle acted animated human character. The expected result should be the vehicle acts as other human or characters in their class. So sticking that booty out, son. Yeah. Let's see that booty of yours. Alright. We didn't get to see this whole thing, but I have a guess as to what caused this. It looks like his bottom half is in his top and like running animation, and his top half is in like his prone reload animation. So I'm gonna guess what happened is he started reloading while he was in prone, stood up, and then the animation wasn't quite sure how to handle transitioning from prone to standing while playing that animation. That would be my guess. I don't know for certain. Went ahead and decided to forego the results and expected results of this one. It seems pretty straightforward. Say, when we're reloading the LMG while in the prone position and then quickly standing as the reloading animation starts, presumptions on my part, the player character's top half will still be playing the prone reloading animation while their bottom half will be in the standing animation state. So, alright, cool. That sounds pretty good for that one. Let's do the next one. That booty pop, girl. Well, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully you guys learned something. If you didn't, sorry I wasted your time. If you did, yay, thank you. I'm so glad you learned something. If you have any questions, please let me know. If you like this kind of content, please let me know. If you don't like, you know what, just let me know anything. How you doing today? I hope you're doing great. Take care.